There are few things just as, well, universally heartwarming as that classic dog head tilt.
Oh, absolutely.
The one your dog hears something odd, or maybe you say the magic WALK word,
Hmm.
or even just a silly noise, and bam, head goes sideways, ears perk up, eyes get wide. It just looks like pure curiosity.
It really does. It's completely irresistible.
It is, and it makes you feel like, I don't know, you've actually connected for a second. Really brightens the day.
Yeah.
But have you ever really stopped to think why they do it? I mean, beyond just being cute.
That's the million-dollar question, isn't it?
Exactly. So our mission for this deep dive is to get past the awe factor, and really unpack the science, the psychology, even the learned stuff behind this habit.
Sounds fascinating.
We're going to look at different theories, how they hear, how they see, what it might tell us about their smarts, their bond with us. We've got stuff from, well, everywhere, Reddit threads, academic studies, vet insights, even tips from pet photographers.
And it's a great quest because, it's not just some random cute thing. It's actually a real window into how they perceive their world.
A window, I like that.
Yeah, and how they engage with us. So the goal here is to give you a much richer understanding, maybe a new appreciation for it. You might not look at that tilt quite the same way after this.
Okay, I'm ready. Let's dive in. So instinctively, when we see the tilt, we think, are they trying to hear better or maybe see better? That feels like the obvious starting point, right?
It absolutely does. And it's a perfect place to start because, well, sensory perception is definitely a huge factor. Let's kick off with the hearing theories. They're pretty compelling.
All right.
So one big idea is sound localization. You know how we humans, we unconsciously tilt our heads just a tiny bit?
Yeah, barely notice it.
Right. It helps our brain figure out the tiny time difference of sound hitting each ear so we know where it came from. Well, dogs seem to do this much more, well, obviously. Tilting physically changes how the sound waves go into their ears. It lets them process it and pinpoint where the sound's coming from much more accurately, especially if it's a new sound or something soft or high-pitched. It's like an immediate physical tweak for better hearing.
Huh. That's clever. So they're not just sitting there listening, they're actively, physically adjusting to get better data. What else on the hearing front?
Well, it's not just where the sound is coming from, but also what it means. The dogs have that incredible hearing range, right?
Right.
So they might tilt to really zero in on specific frequencies or tones or subtle things in our voices, especially that higher-pitched sort of sing-songy baby talk we tend to use.
Guilty as charged.
We all do it, but it helps them refine what we're saying, focus on the important bits. And what's really cool is how this connects to their ear shape.
Oh, yeah. How so?
Well, for dogs with floppy ears, that tilt can physically change the acoustics of their ear canal, making a big difference in locating the sound.
Makes sense. Clears the path a bit.
Exactly. But it gets even more intricate. A tilt might also send the sound signals to different sides of the brain for different kinds of processing.
Whoa, really?
Yeah, some research suggests, for example, a tilt to the left might send signals to the right hemisphere, which often handles things like tone, emotion, the non-word stuff. A right tilt might send signals to the left hemisphere, which is usually more involved with processing, like specific words.
That is remarkably complex. So it's not just hearing better, it's like optimizing their brain to decode different parts of what we say.
Okay, so hearing is finely tuned, but what about vision? Could the tilt be about getting a better look at us, too?
Absolutely. The visual side has some equally strong arguments. Think about a dog's muzzle.
Okay.
Depending on how long it is, how shaped it is, it can actually block part of their view, especially when they're looking right at our face.
I thought of that.
Yeah. So tilting their head could just be a simple, physical way to shift their line of sight. Basically letting them, peek around their own snout to get a clear look at our expressions. Seeing around their own nose, that makes perfect sense. So they're optimizing vision too, just like hearing, to make sure they catch our facial cues. Is there, actual evidence for this muzzle thing?
There is, yeah. A pilot study, for instance, found a pretty clear difference. Dogs with longer muzzles, think greyhounds, they tended to tilt their heads more often than the flat-faced breeds, the brachycephalic ones.
Like pugs or Frenchies.
Exactly. So that strongly suggests that, head shape and muzzle length played a real role. And that naturally brings up more questions for the researchers,
Like what?
Like, does this change as a dog gets older? Is it more common in puppies when their vision's still developing, or maybe in older dogs? as their eyesight starts to fade a bit. It's another layer to think about.
That's a great point. The idea that it's not just what they can see, but maybe what they need to see more clearly to understand us. And okay, this leads us deeper, doesn't it? Because it's moving beyond just the physical mechanics now. New research seems to be saying head tilting is really tied up with how dogs actually think and maybe even feel.
Precisely. Yeah, we're seeing more and more work connecting head tilting to things like concentration and memory recall.
Ah, okay.
It's looking more like a visible sign that the dog is actively processing information, trying hard to match a sound or a word they just heard with, like a visual memory or an idea they have stored away.
You can almost see the gears turning.
You really can. It's like their brain is saying, hang on, processing,
Yeah.
give me a sec.
That definitely fits with what you see sometimes, that really thoughtful tilt when you say a specific word they know, or maybe one they don't know. You mentioned new research, though. What's the big finding there?
Well, one of the most groundbreaking studies recently focused on dogs. The researchers called gifted word learners, GWLs.
Gifted word learners. Okay.
Yeah, these are often border collies, seems like, who can learn and remember the names of tons of different toys, like an amazing number.
Wow.
And the study found these GWL dogs tilted their heads way more often. Get this, 43% of the time when asked to fetch a specific toy by name.
43%. Compared to what?
Compared to just 2%. 4, sort of, typical dogs in this study.
Whoa. 43 versus 2.
No.
That's huge.
It's a massive difference. And it strongly, strongly suggests that the tilt is a real sign of deep attention, serious cognitive effort, memory searching, as they try to pick out the right toy name from all the ones they know.
That paints a very clear picture of active thinking. It's definitely not just a reflex then. It's like proof of higher level processing happening right there.
It really seems to be. And what's more, these researchers also noticed that individual dogs often seem to have a preferred way to tilt. Like your dog might mostly be a right tilter or maybe a left tilter.
I'll have to watch for that now.
You should. Because this preference probably isn't random. It might actually link to which side of their brain is, more dominant or active when processing certain kinds of information. A bit like how people are right-handed or left-handed.
So maybe different cognitive styles manifesting physically?
Could be. It raises really interesting questions about individual differences in how their brains work.
That is fascinating. So the direction might even matter. Okay, beyond the thinking part, how does this tilt help them connect with us, on an emotional level?
Right, because they're not just data processors, are they? They're connecting. Dogs are incredibly intuitive, as we know. And that head tilt can absolutely be an emotional response. It often shows they're really trying to read your emotions, trying to connect with you, or just engaging socially because they picked up on a shift in your voice or your expression.
So it could mean different things emotionally.
Yeah. Like, did I hear that right? Or hesitation, or even just a clear sign they want more interaction. It's like their way of saying, I'm tuned in, what's next?
It's like their nonverbal way of asking for clarification or connection. Okay, so we've covered senses, we've covered thinking, but there's another big piece, isn't there? The idea that maybe they do it partly because we like it so much.
You absolutely nailed it. That's the next critical part of this whole picture. Let's be honest, we find it completely adorable, right?
Totally. Melts me every time.
Exactly. So when a dog tilts its head, our reaction almost automatically is positive. A smile, a softer voice, maybe praise, a pat, maybe even a treat pops out.
Guilty again.
We all are. And dogs are geniuses at figuring out which behaviors get good results. So this positive reinforcement, whether we mean to do it or not, basically teaches them, hey, tilting your head, good things happen.
It's like they've hacked our emotions. Clever little manipulators.
In the best possible way. And think about it, how often does that tilt happen right before you say something exciting like walkies, treat, or car ride?
All the time.
Right. The reward that follows just cements that behavior, which means, and this might surprise some people, you can actually train a dog to tilt its head on command.
Really? You can teach that?
Oh, yeah. Using positive methods, like clicker training, you can shape even a tiny head movement into a full-blown deliberate tilt. It might take some patience, especially if your dog isn't used to that kind of problem-solving training, but it's definitely doable. Shows how smart and adaptable they are.
So we're not just watching a natural behavior, we're actively, if accidentally, encouraging it. Okay, so for those of us who love this tilt, maybe we want that perfect photo or just want to see it more often, are there any pro tips to encourage it?
Absolutely, yeah. The photographers and trainers have figured out a few tricks. First off, Novel sounds.
New sounds.
Yeah, dogs get used to the usual stuff pretty quick.
Yeah.
So new or weird noises work much better. Think crinkling a water bottle.
Classic.
Totally. Or jangling keys differently, maybe doing a convincing little puppy whine yourself. Or even using those phone apps with animal sounds they haven't heard before.
Okay, keep it fresh. Got it. What else?
Then think about trigger words. You know, those high-pitched words, often with hard K or T sounds like cookie, treat, biscuit,
The good stuff.
the good stuff. Say them with a bit of varied inflection, maybe a questioning tone. That surprise or implied question often gets the tilt.
Makes sense. And anything else?
One more. Try playing with volume. Sometimes, actually speaking really quietly in a low voice can make them tilt their head as they strain to hear you better. They lean in, literally
Yeah.
and figuratively.
Ugh, intriguing.
Yeah.
Whisper the magic words. Okay, so we've journeyed through the tilt as this sensory tool, a thinking sign, a learned cue. It's clearly way more complex than it looks, but for all its cuteness, when should we worry? When does it stop being adorable and maybe signal something else?
That is such a critical discussion. Really, really important for every owner. Look, the occasional head tilt, the one that's clearly a response to a sound or something you said, totally normal, totally healthy, no worries there.
Okay.
However, if you start seeing a head tilt that's persistent or seems really unusual, like it's not connected to anything obvious happening around them, or if it comes with other symptoms, then yes, definitely time to call the vet. Don't wait.
Okay, so what are those other warning signs? Beyond just a tilt that won't stop, what else should make us pick up the phone?
Well, the potential medical causes can range from, relatively minor things up to quite serious ones. It could be something like an inner ear infection, which is common,
Right.
but it could also be linked to nutritional issues, a damaged eardrum,
Right.
or more severe things like vestibular disorders that affects their balance and sense of space, or even in rare cases, growths or tumors affecting the ear or brain.
Wow. Okay. That's a wide range.
It is. So you need to watch for the accompanying signs.
Yeah.
Things like tilting, always to just one side, any changes in balance or coordination, stumbling, seeming dizzy,
Okay.
any discharge or weird smell from the ears,
Yeah.
obvious loss of balance, strange eye movements. Vets call it nystagmus, where the eyes flick back and forth.
Right.
Also clear signs of ear pain. Maybe these start walking in circles, drooling more than usual, or even vomiting. Any of those alongside a persistent tilt needs checking out.
That's a really clear list of red flags. It definitely underscores that, yeah, we love the tilt, but we always need to be watching our dog's overall health closely.
Exactly, and getting help quickly is key here. Early diagnosis for these kinds of issues is just crucial for preventing long-term problems, managing discomfort, and avoiding potentially worse complications.
Yeah.
So if you see those worrying signs, really don't delay that vet visit. Better safe than sorry.
Absolutely. Okay, so wrapping this all up, what's the big takeaway here? That simple little head tilt we adore is, well, it's not simple at all, is it?
None the slightest.
It's this beautiful kind of intricate mix of sensory tuning, deep thinking, and a cleverly learned way to connect with us. It's really a testament to how complex and smart and well-connected our dogs truly are.
Couldn't have said it better. We've sort of unpacked how it can be the sophisticated way to understand us better, to nail down where a sound came from, to see around their own face, or even to process words like those amazing gifted word learners. And, of course, it's also a trick they learn works wonders because, well, we melt and often hand out rewards.
Yeah.
So the next time your dog gives you that look,
Yeah.
you'll know there's just so much more going on under the surface than just a cute pose.
It definitely makes that moment feel even richer, knowing all that.
It really does.
Yeah.
And, here's a final thought to maybe chew on.
Okay.
Remember how we mentioned some research suggests dogs might have a preferred direction for their tilt? Like being a consistent right tilter or left tilter?
Yeah, the cognitive style idea.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So think about this. What could paying attention to that individual trait, your dog's specific way of tilting, reveal about how their unique brain is wired? How might noticing those subtle personal cues actually help us deepen that amazing bond and communication we already share?
That's really interesting.
It just highlights, doesn't it, how much more there always is to learn from our best friends just by watching a little closer.